Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be answering a question that you guys have been asking often, and you've been saying, Michael, you keep telling us you're a real estate developer. What does that exactly mean? And what is the difference between real estate investment and real estate development? Because let me tell you, they are two completely different things. They are both ways to make money in real estate, but they're completely different tracks that you take to get there. So let me break it down for you. Real estate developers are people like myself that go into markets looking for land and underutilized properties to purchase and then to plan a project from scratch. So when I say plan a project from scratch, I really mean you sit down, you start with a highest and best use analysis, which is a study that you do to figure out what is the highest and best use for this piece of land. And then you will go about assembling a team to carry a development through. So you'll need a great architect, you'll need a great contractor, you'll need great mechanical, electric, plumbing engineers. You'll put together a whole team. Then you'll go to the city, whichever municipality you may be in, and you will seek what they call entitlements. And entitlements are essentially the rights to build what you would like to build. Once you go through the city and you get the rights approved to whatever it is that you want to build, then you go out there and you build the product. And if it's like a project, the way we like to run them, we like to build them, own them, and operate them ourselves. So we keep them in-house, we rent them out, but ultimately we are building the product from the ground up, which we are then leasing out and renting to residents. Now, the main difference between development and just sheer investment is that 9 times out of 10, investors are buying buildings that are already existing. Meaning you're going into a project already knowing kind of what your best and worst case scenarios are. Yes, of course, there's potential to add value and to juice the rents and make the existing products better and nicer. But however, it is really its own investment that you're buying from the beginning, going into it knowing that this is the building in front of me. I personally love development because you're allowed to get so creative and have so much fun planning awesome buildings and places that make people say ooh and ah when they walk in. But it is very difficult and it's a lot more time consuming than just going out there and being a real estate investor. Now, if you have time on your hands and you're willing to take on a job that you can make money in, being a developer and building is awesome. Whether it's building a single family house or building an office space or something grand, you have so much say in what ends up getting built. And in the end, if you do it right and you really know how to milk the value for your space, you can usually make more money in a new development than you can in an existing building. Now, with that being said, you can also lose your shirt in a development if you don't know what you're doing. I've seen it time and time again, and in some of these episodes, we're gonna dive into hotels in Las Vegas that lost billions. And you would ask yourself, how would a company with billions of dollars lose on a project? And we'll dissect and we'll go through their whole structure of their company and the mistakes that they made. And that will caution you and give you at least a red flag in your head and say, hey, just because I'm building something doesn't mean I can be careless. Doesn't mean I can just say, whatever the budget is, it is, and it doesn't matter. All of these matrices that go into making projects great are things that you think about before you even start the project. How much money can I allocate to finishes? What type of building do I build here? Do I build a high rise? Do I build a low rise? How many units do I put in a building? Do I go fully commercial or do I go residential and commercial? What are the different types of mixed use buildings that I can build? You have to study the market, know where you are, get an idea of what people want and what's missing and what they're looking for, and then you jump in and you build it and you give it to them. Now, I would not suggest getting involved in real estate development in areas like Los Angeles, New York, San Francisco, and I know that may sound like a double standard because I'm developing myself in Los Angeles, but take it from someone who's doing it. Unless you have deep pockets and we're talking 8 figures and you're willing to deal with municipalities that are really strict and rules that are really hard to skirt around, you're better off developing and building in places that embrace your money and want you to build. So in Los Angeles right now, as much as the city says, yes, we want new housing, they really don't, because for every new project that comes up, people get really upset that residents get displaced. They get really upset about the affordability factors of the housing. So it's not something that is like embraced. They're not coming and saying, hey, we can't wait for you to come build. But there are tons of markets in the US that are growing where the municipalities and the cities and the local governments will welcome your investment and they're gonna want you to build there. They're actually gonna incentivize you to build there. One thing I will speak to in Los Angeles, which I think is so awesome, is that there's a program that allows a density bonus if you contribute affordable housing to your project. So I'm getting ready to plan a project on Sunset Boulevard, and I know that if I build a project there, I will throw at least 10% of the units as low-income affordable housing units, but the city will give me concessions that actually make sense for those units that I'm giving up. So there are times where public and private sector get together and it makes a lot of sense, but I am cautioning you that before you get into development, you really want to know the market you're in and you want to know the city. Go and start a relationship with the city planners, go talk to building and safety, walk around the neighborhoods, get an idea of how you're gonna build in an area and what you can do to serve the residents of a neighborhood. One of the things that I take a lot of pride in is that when we start a project, we have a solid community outreach program that we follow. So we go out to the neighbors, we go out to the neighboring apartment buildings, we talk to the business owners, we get in there and we say, what are you guys missing? What is the quality of life here? Do you genuinely see people walking around that are happy and feel good, or do you see people that are depressed and are walking around angry? What's the homeless population like here? How much foot traffic is in the area? Is it a walkable neighborhood, or do you need a car to get places? These are all things that we as real estate developers take into consideration. When you jump into real estate investment, you don't need to worry about these things as much. If you buy a 10-unit apartment building and you know that each unit, for example, makes $1,000 a month, which means you're gonna make $12,000 a month in rental income, and every year you're gonna generate $144,000. And you know that of that $140,000, half of it is your expenses and the other half is your profit, it gets really simple to understand the investment that you're in. When you get into development, you are really building the parameters that you're going to be making money in. So you ask yourself, how many units am I going to build here? What are the sizes of these units going to be? Because hey, maybe I can build 10 units that are going to be super duper big and ask $1,200 a month for them, or I can build 25 units that are smaller but maybe get $800 a month for them and make more money. So these are all things that will come into your mind and you'll think about them as you look at the land and you look at the area that you're in. But what we're going to focus on in my videos is how to look at a neighborhood and figure out what's missing, and then try to figure out how you can get in there and be the person that brings that to the table. And remember, it's not always all about having money. Having money is only part of a project, but having vision and having an idea that the city is willing to get behind is more valuable than any money. And if you have a good project on your hands, you can even come to a guy like me and we'll provide financing for you, because good projects pencil out, they make sense. The only thing that doesn't make sense is whenever you just want to build something because you have an ego, and you go into an area and you say, I want to plop up a tower or a building here without doing any math, doing no matrix studies, doing no highest and best use studies, and thinking just because you're building real estate, you're going to win. I've seen so many guys lose their shirt with that mentality. Multi-millionaires that thought, you know what, I can't lose, I'm building real estate. And little do they know, they go in there and they spend all this money and they overpay to build some project that makes 0 sense because they want to have pride of ownership. And then in the end, they end up losing it to somebody that knows what they're doing, who buys it when they go debt broke on those books and they can't afford to float their construction loans and all the debt that they have. So pay attention, because I don't want that to be you. I'm going to walk you through how to develop real estate. I'm going to give you a first-hand look at all the projects that I'm doing. I currently have 2 major developments, one on the Sunset Strip, which is about a $65 million project. I have a 10-unit townhouse development in West Hollywood, which is super duper cool. We're going to do a whole video just on that project, and we're actually jumping into construction on that. But yeah, I just wanted to help give you guys some color and explain really what the difference was between being a real estate investor and a real estate developer. And I also wanted to encourage you guys that, hey, if you have a passion for design and for building, you don't need to be the kind of guy that's a passive investor and gives your money to someone else and says, hey, put it into a fund for me. You can go out there and build equity and build projects and have a really, really good time doing it. So as always, thank you so much for coming around and watching this video. I hope you're feeling inspired. Go ahead and drop a comment, drop a like, subscribe, turn the bell notifications on, because it really does help with the YouTube algorithm. And I can't wait to see you guys in the next video.